Hello there. Remember me? I'm Dr. Zero. Welcome to another Kaizen video entitled Zero Downtime. In fact, you've come at a good time. I'm just about to give a short lecture on downtime and short stoppages. Care to join me? Good morning. 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 I think it's just about time to start. Any second now. Any second now. Let me introduce my favorite author. Let me introduce my favorite Let me introduce my favorite author. It gives me a headache when it rings. It gives me a headache when it doesn't ring when it's supposed to. But I've grown used to it. It's become a habit. It's just a part of everyday life. But it is alarming, excuse the pun, if this kind of thing happens in the factory. I bet somewhere around you there's someone who regards the correction of short stoppages as their basic role in life, but actually nobody should have to do that. What we have to do is find ways to avoid those short stoppages altogether. Now, where's that stopwatch? Stoppage. Just as I thought. It stopped. Downtime. Down. Well, that's exactly what we're after, isn't it? Less downtime.
All around the world, the use of automated and energy-saving equipment is expanding year by year. One of the reasons for this is, of course, labour shortage. But also, if you rely only on manual labour, you cannot significantly increase production. The work of operators is to produce high-quality products, making use of the full potential of automated machines. However, sometimes the very equipment which is producing products in the place of people causes trouble. The equipment is working, but the flow is interrupted because of a blockage somewhere in the system. A minor adjustment and the flow is resumed. Minor problems like this, which can be removed in a simple way, are known as short stoppages. Short stoppages have some special characteristics. They can happen any time and anywhere. They can be corrected manually and quickly. Bearing these characteristics in mind, you have to be constantly on the lookout for short stoppages. There is obviously a contradiction here. People are needed to watch over the very machines which are used because people are in short supply. In this volume, we want to try and clarify the problems surrounding short stoppages. Let's look at three basic points to do with short stoppages. First, there are problems concerning operators. Then there are problems with the equipment itself. And third, there are problems to do with processed items and products. Let's think about the problems for the operators first. They must do something about the stoppages. They have to waste time as a result. They have to keep constant watch, and there's a limit to the number of machines each person can be responsible for. Next, problems to do with the equipment itself. The equipment won't recover unless someone does something about the stoppages. Machines running idly waste energy, and the operating ratio is reduced. When it comes to problems with products and the work, the main ones are defects, such as abrasions and deformations, and the fact that production targets can't be met. A vital factor in all this is the attitude of the operators. There are two main reasons why short stoppages don't decrease. The first is that many operators simply don't realize that short stoppages cause losses. The other is the attitude that correcting the cause of short stoppages is simply a normal part of the work, rather than a waste of time and effort. For example, because of short stoppages, a line which is targeted to produce 10,000 items per day over a 7-hour shift only manages to produce 8,000 items. If the situation continues for 20 days, the line will produce only 160,000 items instead of 200,000. In other words, there will be a production loss of at least 40,000 items. Each short stoppage may be very short, but the effect over a period of time of accumulated stoppages can be phenomenal in terms of lost production. But it's very easy for operators to think only in terms of immediate loss, rather than in the long term. It goes without saying that operators should immediately notice any abnormalities that occur and could cause problems, such as oil leaks or unusual noises. By acting quickly, they can remove the cause of the short stoppage before it happens. What is required is the ability to judge whether the machine is functioning normally or abnormally. Such a judgment can only be made if the basic work principles are fully understood and digested. The first is that machines are always operated according to the manual. The second is that everyone does thorough and regular cleaning, lubrication, tightening and adjustment. And thirdly, setup operations must be done properly. By sticking to these principles, it is possible to keep the machines running so that no problems occur. If an abnormality does crop up, then you should be able to sense it quickly, decide on a countermeasure and avoid a short stoppage.
We need to make some improvements here. But how to go about it? That's the question.
Here's a familiar machine, a parts feeder. Feeders like this have a tendency to suffer from a particular type of short stoppage. They suddenly get stuck. If that happens, the supply to the feeder stops. Let's look at the basic reasons why the feeder can get stuck. There is a vibration problem. Sympathetic vibrations occur. There is a balance problem. There is a supply surplus. There is an assembly problem. If you focus on these reasons, you may be able to find the minor defects which cause short stoppages. If we are trying to clarify the losses caused by short stoppages in general, we can use either macro or micro methods. As we have already seen, the macro method is to try and understand short stoppages in general, checking whether production target figures are achieved during the actual operating time of the equipment. The micro method clarifies individual productivity losses by collecting data, such as what kind of short stoppages are happening and where, the number of occurrences, and the time taken for treatment. It is this micro method which is used in the actual improvement of equipment. By using it, exactly what is taking place and why should become absolutely clear. Now we'll look at short stoppage problems and their causes. It's useful to investigate according to the actual system in which the short stoppage occurs: conveyance system, assembly system, or detection system. Let's look at each of these in turn. First, short stoppage problems in the conveyance system. Something is blocked, stuck, jammed, or slips off. There is a part shortage, an insertion error, or either a lack or excess of supply. One cause may be a misshapen chute. For example, it is scratched, dirty, or has a bad surface. Another may be a faulty parts feeder, as we have already seen, with vibration or sympathetic vibration problems. Or there may be a problem with the attitude control system. For example, the mode, suitability with parts, amount of supply, etc. In the case of the assembly system, problems include items that are crushed or damaged, overlap of items, chucking and timing errors, bad assembly, and faulty discharge. Causes are usually to do with inaccuracy, particularly of jigs, assembly, and parts. The main problem we find with the detection system is an inability to distinguish between good and faulty products. This is usually caused by faulty positioning of the sensor, or improper attachment, or incorrect sensitivity setting. With the examination of short stoppage problems, the main point is to determine what is different from normal. Here again are the improvement points in brief. Fully understand all the basic work principles so that you can readily distinguish between normal and abnormal. Conduct thorough 5S activities to make it easier to detect minor defects. Clarify the problems and causes of short stoppages and grasp their meaning through figures.
Now, it goes without saying that the operator is the first person who has to deal with short stoppages and fix things temporarily. Now, the idea is to reduce that kind of work all the way down to zero. But you can only do that by going back to basics and discovering fundamental methods and countermeasures that will work to get rid of short stoppages for good. And good riddance, I say. So, it's important to fully understand the problems and their causes. And, of course, their location, frequency, and timing.